Hi, I am Jessie here with the latest news around the world brought to you by WIC Channel. A Singapore Airlines flight encountered severe turbulence on May 21st, leading to the death of a 73-year-old British man from a suspected heart attack. Recent investigations have revealed the extreme nature of the turbulence. The flight experienced a rapid gravitational force change and dropped 54 meters 178 feet in altitude within 4 seconds. The Transport Safety Investigation Bureau reported that the vertical acceleration fluctuated dramatically from -1.5 g to +1.5 g, causing airborne passengers and crew to fall. The Bureau noted that these rapid changes over a 4.6-second duration led to the significant altitude drop, which likely resulted in the injuries sustained by passengers and crew. Following the incident, Singapore Airlines stated that the pilot declared a medical emergency and made an emergency landing in Bangkok after encountering the turbulence over the Irrawaddy Basin, approximately 10 hours into the flight. The airline has acknowledged the investigation's findings and is fully cooperating with the ongoing inquiry. Singapore, second worker dies from poisonous fumes at pub's Choa Chu Kang waterworks. A second worker has tragically passed away after inhaling toxic fumes while performing routine tank cleaning at PUB's Choa Chu Kang waterworks. The National Water Agency PUB announced on May 29th that the 24-year-old Malaysian worker, who had been in the ICU at NG Tang Fong General Hospital, died on the night of May 28th. PUB expressed its deepest condolences to the worker's family and loved ones, stating that both PUB and its contractor are providing full support to the family during this difficult time. The worker, Izzat Kyudin Daud, had been employed by PUB contractor Star Group Est since November 2021. Desmond Limit, the managing director of Star Group Est, mentioned that the company covered hotel and living expenses for Izzat's father so he could visit his son. The incident occurred on May 23rd, when 3 workers were found unconscious at the plant around 11:15 a.m. One of them, 40-year-old Indian national Srinivasan Sivaram, died later that day. The workers collapsed after inhaling hydrogen sulfide gas while draining sludge from a pulsator tank. The third worker, a 39-year-old Malaysian, has been moved out of the ICU and is currently in stable condition. Both he and Sivaram were employed by Supersonic Maintenance Services. PUB is reviewing safety protocols, particularly for work in confined spaces with exposure risks to toxic gases and chemicals. They are emphasizing the importance of adhering to safety procedures and are gradually lifting safety timeouts at worksites where appropriate measures are verified. PUB is cooperating fully with the Ministry of Manpower on the investigation. U.S. maintains Israel policy and military aid amid Rafah deaths. The Biden administration announced on Tuesday, May 28th, that it is closely monitoring the investigation into a deadly Israeli airstrike in Rafah, which it labeled as tragic. However, these recent deaths will not alter U.S. policy or military aid to Israel. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby emphasized that the incident, while tragic, does not constitute a major ground operation that would trigger a U.S. response. He reiterated that the U.S. does not have a specific threshold for aid withdrawal, stating, "We don't have a measuring stick here or a quota." Kirby noted that while the U.S. does not want to see a major ground operation in Rafah that could cause extensive damage and high civilian casualties, the current operations are limited to a corridor on Rafah's outskirts. He confirmed that these operations would not lead to a withdrawal of U.S. military aid. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, addressing the airstrike, described it as tragic and expressed her deep concern over the incident. The airstrike on Sunday resulted in a fire in a tent camp in Gaza's Rafah city, killing 45 Palestinians. Additionally, Israeli tank shelling of another tent camp on Tuesday reportedly killed at least 21 people, according to Gaza health authorities. Israel admitted that Sunday's airstrike was a tragic mistake and stated that the intended targets were to senior Hamas operatives, not civilians. The Israeli military denied responsibility for the Tuesday shelling. Kirby warned that Israel's current actions could lead to further isolation from the international community, which is not in the best interest of either Israel or the U.S. Former Thailand PM Thaksin Shinawatra to face trial for royal insult. Thailand's former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, who returned last year after 15 years in exile, will stand trial next month for charges of insulting the monarchy. The case stems from a 2015 interview with South Korean media during his self-imposed exile. According to Prayuth Pakarakan, a spokesman for Thailand's Attorney General, 74-year-old Thaksin is scheduled to appear in court on June 18 under Thailand's strict lèse-majesté law. He also faces charges of violating the Computer Crime Act. Thaksin, a wealthy telecommunications tycoon, first became prime minister in 2001 but was ousted in a 2006 military coup amid mass protests and opposition from the pro-royalist, pro-military elite, despite his exile. Thaksin's populist political movement continued to win elections, although it was repeatedly overthrown by coups or court rulings. The latest charges were brought by the generals who took power from Thaksin's sister, Yingluck Shinawatra, in 2014. These charges relate to the interview Thaksin gave in 2015. The Attorney General has decided to indict Thaksin for insulting the monarchy, Prayuth announced to reporters. Thaksin's lawyer, Winya Chatmantri, stated that Thaksin intends to fight the charges. Despite claiming retirement, Thaksin has made several public appearances since his return and has consistently pledged his loyalty to the crown. Philippines president calls China's new Coast Guard rules worrisome. Manila, on Wednesday, May 29th, Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. expressed concern over new rules from China's Coast Guard that could lead to the detention of foreigners in the South China Sea, calling the move an escalation and worrisome. China, which has ongoing maritime sovereignty disputes with the Philippines and other nations, announced new rules effective June 15th. These rules will enforce a 2021 Coast Guard law and permit the detention of foreigners suspected of trespassing. President Marcos, speaking during a state visit to Brunei, emphasized that this new policy of detaining foreign nationals marks an escalation. The new policy of threatening to detain our own citizens, that is different. That is an escalation of the situation, he stated.